she vented to a black unknown, without imagining that he was her millionaire boss, who fell in love with her. The document folder fell to the floor with a loud thud, leaves scattered, reports crumpled under the sole of Patricia's beige pumps, who didn't even bend down to help. On the contrary, he crossed his arms and tilted his head with that thin, venomous smile that Camilla knew all too well. "Do you really think this presentation is ready for the client, Camilla?" Patricia's voice echoed through the meeting room. 3 colleagues looked away. Rodrigo, sitting at the end of the table, used his cell phone as if nothing was happening. "Because I don't know what company you work for, but here we deliver excellence." "No, that." Camilla took a deep breath. The fingers trembled as they picked up the leaves from the ground one by one, under the silent gaze of the team. Nobody said anything. Nobody ever said. "I revised it 3 times, Patricia. The data is correct. The metrics match what you asked for. The metrics are mediocre." Patricia cut in, slamming the pen on the table hard. "Do you know what your problem is, Camilla? You don't understand the standards of this company. You think effort is enough, but effort without results is worthless." She paused dramatically, savoring every word. "I'll redo it. You can go. And next time, try to pay attention to what I ask, okay?" The room was completely silent. Camilla felt her face burn. His hands shook, holding the crumpled sheets. She wanted to scream. I wanted to throw those papers in Patricia's face and say everything I thought, but he couldn't. I never could. Because Camilla Santos, 28, a marketing analyst at Tech Vision Corporativa, knew that black women didn't have the luxury of losing their composure. One word louder, one tone firmer, and she would be labeled aggressive, problematic, difficult to work with. So she just lowered her head, muttered a barely audible, "Excuse me," and left the room with the sheets crumpled against her chest. The glass door closed behind her with a soft click, but for Camilla it sounded like a sentence. She walked down the tiled hallway, the white office lights reflecting off the polished floor. All around, colleagues typed on their computers, laughed quietly in their cubicles, drank coffee in the pantry. Nobody looked at her. Nobody asked if everything was okay. Camilla knew that place like the back of her hand. 3 years. 3 years of coming in at 8 a.m. and leaving at 7 p.m., sometimes later. 3 years delivering impeccable campaigns, reports, presentations. 3 years of watching Rodrigo copy his ideas and present them as his own. 3 years of listening to Patricia destroy her work in public and then using exactly what she had done, just changing the name in the footer. And what had she gained in return? No promotions, no increase, no recognition, just humiliation. Camilla took her purse from the drawer, walked past reception without looking at anyone, and left the corporate building like someone fleeing a fire. The cold air of the São Paulo night hit her face like a slap. She took a deep breath, trying to hold back the tears that burned in her eyes. Not here, not now, but the throat was too tight, the chest is too heavy. She started walking along Avenida Paulista, aimlessly, her heels clicking loudly on the sidewalk. The city pulsed around her, cars honking, people laughing, neon lights on, but Camilla felt completely invisible, as if she were walking in a movie where she wasn't the protagonist, just an extra, a shadow. She stopped in front of a stand of wilted flowers. He looked at his reflection in the window next to him, a woman with braids tied into a messy bun, a rumpled formal blouse, tired and red eyes. When was the last time she felt seen? Not as the analyst who did the work, but like Camilla, one person, someone who mattered. "Excuse me." Camilla turned around, scared. A tall black man in a dark sweatshirt and worn-out sneakers was standing next to her. He held a paper coffee cup, his hood thrown back. His face was marked by a short, well-groomed beard, deep, gentle eyes, a strange presence, at once ordinary and magnetic. "Sorry to bother you," he said, his voice calm, almost soft. "But you look like you need to talk to someone." Camilla blinked, confused. "How? I know it's weird." He gave an awkward, almost embarrassed half-smile. "But I was sitting there," he pointed to a bench in the square a few meters away, "and I saw you leave that building. You were different, like carrying the world on your shoulders. And I thought, this person needs someone to listen." Camilla should have found that invasive. I should have made a polite excuse and moved on. But something in his voice, in the sincerity of those eyes, made all her defenses crumble. And then, without understanding B and Y, the words started to come out. "Tired," she released, almost in a sigh. "I'm tired." He didn't respond. He just nodded slowly as if he understood perfectly. Camilla continued, her voice shaking. "I work in a company where every day is the same thing. I do the work, deliver everything correctly, review it 1,000 times, and then someone comes and dismantles it in front of me, as if I were nothing, as if I didn't know how to do anything, as if I hadn't spent 4 years studying, doing an internship for free, taking a crowded bus every day to arrive on time." Her voice broke. She wiped her eyes quickly, angry at herself for crying in front of a stranger. And the worst thing is that I know that I know. I know my work is good, but it doesn't matter, because for them I will always be insufficient. Insufficient, the man repeated, frowning, or uncomfortable. Camilla looked at him, surprised by the question. What? People who destroy other people's work don't do it because the work is bad. They do it because they feel threatened. He spoke with a calm that seemed to come from experience. Have you ever thought that maybe your work is too good and that someone is afraid of you shining? Camilla had never thought about that, not like that. Today she threw my documents on the floor, Camilla continued, her voice low, full of pain, in front of everyone, and nobody did anything. Nobody ever does anything. They just stare, as if it were normal, as if I deserved it. You don't deserve it. His voice was firm, almost stern. No one deserves to be treated like this. Camilla felt a lump in her throat. How long has it been since anyone said something like that to her? How long had it been since anyone defended her, even if only with words? And why are you still there? He asked, kindly but directly. Camilla gave a bitter laugh. Because I need it, she replied tiredly. I have a bill to pay. My mother is sick. She undergoes hemodialysis 3 times a week. The rent is late. I've been keeping the house alone since I was 20. His voice became lower. I can't just leave, and even if I could, who would hire me? I'm just another black woman trying to survive in a world that doesn't want me to survive. The words came out raw, painful, true. She had never said that out loud. Not like that, not for anyone. But he didn't look away. He didn't give that embarrassed smile that people gave when the subject got too heavy. He didn't try to change the subject. He just looked at her like he was really listening, as if every word mattered. I understand, he said finally, and something in his voice, in the way he spoke, made Camilla believe it was true, that he really understood. She wiped the corners of her eyes with the back of her hand. Sorry, I don't even know why I'm telling you this. We don't even know each other. Sometimes it's easier to talk to people you don't know, he replied with a gentle smile. No judgment, no expectations, without having to pretend that everything is fine. Camilla gave a weak, bitter laugh but nodded. That was exactly it. She looked at him again, really looked. He noticed the details, the simple coffee cup, the worn but clean sweatshirt, the sneakers that had seen better days. He seemed normal, an ordinary guy, someone who should also know tiredness. He should also know fighting. And you? Camilla asked almost without thinking. What do you do? He hesitated for a second, as if choosing his words. Then he shrugged. I work there. I try to help people when I can. Sometimes I listen. Sometimes I try to change things. I don't always succeed. The answer was vague, but Camilla didn't press. Maybe he had his secrets too. Maybe everyone did. Thank you, she said sincerely, for listening. I needed this. It had been a while since anyone had really listened to me. In truth, he repeated as if the phrase had caught his attention. Yeah, Camilla sighed. At work I am invisible. At home, I'm just the provider. Nobody asks how I am. Nobody cares if I can handle it. I'm just functional. As long as I deliver money, work, results, everything is fine. But me, Camilla, nobody sees. He was silent for a moment. Then he said quietly, I see. Camilla felt something move inside her chest, a strange warm emotion that she couldn't name. And just so you know, he continued, his voice firm, you're not just another one. You are someone who deserves respect, someone who deserves to be seen. Never forget that. He held her gaze for a second longer, as if to make sure she had heard. Then, with a slight wave, he began to walk away into the Paulista crowd. Camilla stood on the sidewalk, watching him disappear among the people, an unknown, a guy in a hoodie who had stopped to listen when no one else was listening. She didn't know his name. I didn't know where, and he came, and he would never have imagined that, the following Monday, she would see him again. Or 3 days later, Monday, 9 a.m. Tech Vision Corporate's main meeting room was full. All managers, coordinators, and senior analysts had been called to an urgent strategic meeting. The email had arrived on Saturday night without details, just with the warning, mandatory attendance, new CEO will be presented. Camilla was sitting at the back of the room, next to Rodrigo, who was scrolling through his cell phone boredly. She had spent the entire weekend thinking about that encounter on the street, in the words of the stranger, in the way he had looked at her, as if she mattered. Patricia was sitting at the head of the table, looking impeccable as always. White blazer, brushed straight hair, manicured red nails. She checked notes with a superior air, clearly pleased to be the center of attention, the queen of the kingdom. Does anyone know who the new CEO is? Rodrigo muttered, bored. Must be some imported executive, Camilla replied without emotion. Another meeting where she would be invisible. Another boss who would never know her name. I heard it's someone young, Patricia commented loudly for everyone to hear. Probably someone from outside, someone with an international vision. The way she said international made it clear what she really meant. Someone white, European, American, someone from the Standard. The door opened, and then he entered, the man in the sweatshirt, the stranger on the street. Only now he was wearing a perfectly tailored, dark gray suit, black silk tie, and shiny leather shoes. His hair was combed with discreet gel, his beard trimmed with millimeter precision. He entered with a presence that silenced the entire room. Straight shoulders, steady steps, a quiet authority that filled the space. Camilla felt her heart freeze. No, it can't be. Good morning, everybody. His voice echoed through the room, firm and professional. My name is Andre Oliveira, and as of today, I am the new CEO of Tech Vision. The silence was absolute. Patricia's eyes widened, the pen slipping from her hand. Rodrigo dropped his cell phone on the table with a thud, and Camilla simply froze in her chair, unable to breathe, unable to process what she was seeing. The stranger on the street, the man who had heard her vent about humiliation, exhaustion, invisibility. He was the supreme boss of the company, and he was looking right at her. His eyes met hers for a split second, and at that moment Camilla saw something that made her tremble. Recognition. He knew who she was. He remembered. Andre looked away and continued, I know that changes can cause insecurity, but I want to make it clear right away. This company will undergo a complete restructuring. Let's evaluate processes, results. He paused. And people. The word people sounded like a warning. Patricia adjusted herself in her chair, trying to regain her composure. Rodrigo cleared his throat, nervous. But Camilla remained motionless, her heart hammering in her chest, her mind spinning in 1,000 directions. He knows. He heard everything. He knows the humiliation. He knows about Patricia. He knows I've been trampled on in this company. And now, he was the most powerful man there. Camilla couldn't pay attention to the rest of the meeting. Andre's words echoed in the room. Something about restructuring, performance analysis, transparency and processes. But everything sounded distant, muffled, as if she were underwater. Her heart was beating so loudly that she was sure Rodrigo next to her could hear it. He knows. He heard everything. He knows I'm the woman on the street. And worse, he saw how broken she was, vulnerable, weak. Everything that Camilla always tried to hide in the corporate environment, all the masks she wore to survive, had fallen on that sidewalk in Paulista. And now, that man, the CEO, knew everything. When the meeting ended, Camilla was the first to leave. She grabbed her bag in a hurry, lowered her head and crossed the corridor as if she were fleeing from a crime. She locked herself in the women's bathroom on the 3rd floor, entered a stall, closed the door and finally allowed her hands to shake. How did this happen? How is the stranger on the street the CEO of the company? She leaned her back against the cold wall and closed her eyes. The image of him in a sweatshirt, holding coffee, listening to her outbursts with those gentle eyes, clashed violently with the image of him in a suit, absolute authority, commanding an entire room with a sentence. Did he fake it? Did he lie? No. Camilla didn't feel like she was being lied to. She felt something else, as if he actually wanted to hear it, as if that moment had been real. But now she was just another employee under his command, and he knew too much. 3 floors up, President's room, Andre Oliveira. He closed the door behind him and exhaled slowly. He had seen her face, the shock, the fear, the shame, everything he didn't want to cause. He knew that meeting on the street had been honest, spontaneous, human, but now, from her point of view, it must have seemed like a trap, a manipulation. Andre took off his jacket and threw it on the leather chair. He looked through the glass window that overlooked Paulista below. He had returned to São Paulo for precisely this reason, to regain control of Tech Vision, the company that his father had founded and which, after his death, fell into the hands of incompetent and corrupt executives. For 2 years, Andre had investigated Tech Vision from afar, external audits, anonymous employee reporting, productivity data versus promotions. And what he found infuriated him. Favoritism, bullying, theft of merit, internal sabotage. A company that was rotten from the inside, run by people who only cared about appearances. And at the center of it all, there were people like Camilla, competent, honest, invisible people. Andre took out his notebook and opened the employee list. He had already asked HR for a detailed analysis of the last 3 years, who was delivering results, who was receiving promotions, who was being put aside for no apparent reason. And there was her name, Camila Santos, marketing analyst, 3 years with the company, 0 promotions, 0 bonuses, 0 formal warnings, 0 promotions in 3 years. For someone who, according to reports, had the best deliveries of the entire marketing team. Andre clicked on campaign history. All presentations sent by Camila had been approved by clients with high marks. But credit in internal reports? I always went to Rodrigo Menezes or manager Patricia Azevedo. He closed his eyes, controlling his anger. It's always like this. Always the same names taking the credit. Always the same people being erased. He typed a short message to the HR director. I want the marketing team's complete performance records, including emails, client approvals, and internal reports for the last 3 years. Today, if there was one thing Andre Oliveira did not tolerate, it was injustice. And if there was one thing he had learned as a black man in the corporate world, it was that injustice rarely came alone. It was accompanied by connivance, silence, and fear. 2 hours later, Bahia de Camila. Camila was mechanically typing a report when she heard Patricia's voice on the phone, in the glass room next door. No, he hasn't said anything about cuts yet. But you know how it is, right? New CEO always wants to show service. Patricia laughed confidently. Relax, Rodrigo. I took care of everything. Your name is on all important campaigns. If anyone gets cut, it won't be you. Camila felt her stomach turn. I took care of everything. She always knew that Patricia stole her work, but hearing it said out loud, so naturally, as if it were strategy, it hurt in a different way. Camila saved the file, grabbed her bag, and left early. Nobody noticed. Nobody ever noticed. That night, Camila's apartment, East Zone. The apartment was small but organized. 2 bedrooms, cramped living room, kitchen with old tiles. Camila entered and found her mother, Dona Joanna, sitting on the sofa with the hemodialysis bag beside her. You arrived early, daughter. Dona Joanna smiled, but her face was pale, tired. Did something happen? Camila forced a smile. No, mother. I just finished early today. Lie. She had left because she couldn't stand being in that place any longer. Camila prepared dinner in silence. Rice, beans, fried egg. Simple. What could I do with what I had in the fridge? As he stirred the pot, his mind went back in time. 5 years. Flashback. 5 years earlier. Camila was 23 years old. She was finishing her degree in advertising at a public university, taking 3 buses a day to get to campus. I worked part-time as a telemarketer to help around the house. I studied early in the morning. When her mother was diagnosed with kidney failure, Camila left her unpaid internship, accepted a full-time telemarketing job, and started taking her mother for hemodialysis 3 times a week. She graduated with honors, but no party, no photo of the gown, no celebration, because on graduation day, Donna Joanna had a crisis and was hospitalized. Camila received her diploma in the mail. He kept it in a drawer, and he continued working. When she finally got the job at Tech Vision 3 years ago, she thought her life would change, that the effort would be worth it, that she was finally going to rise. But life hasn't changed. She remained invisible. Back to the present. Camila served her mother's dish and sat next to her on the table. Living room table. Are you okay, daughter? Donna Joanna asked, worried. You have a face. I'm fine, Mom. Camila held her hand, thin and cold. Just tired. Donna Joanna shook her daughter's hand back. You work too much, Camila. You always work too hard. Since I was a little girl, she sighed. Sometimes I'm afraid you'll forget to live, to be happy. Camila felt her eyes burning, but she swallowed the tears. I'm happy, Mom. Is it? Donna Joanna looked deep into her daughter's eyes. Then why don't you ever smile anymore? Camila didn't know what to answer. Kadui the next day. Tech Vision, 9:15 a.m. Camila arrived on time, as always. Turned on the computer. Opened the emails. There was a general call. Internal audit. All employees must provide work files from the last 3 years for review. Deadline, 48H. The entire room went into a silent panic. Rodrigo passed Camila's stall, his face pale. Did you receive this email? I received. What is he looking for? Rodrigo whispered nervously. Camila didn't respond, but a part of her, small, buried, almost dead, felt a spark of hope. And what if he actually investigates? What if he finds out the truth? Patricia's room, 11:30 a.m. Patricia was on the phone, her voice low but tense. I don't know what he wants, but you can't let him access the old folders, understand? Delete the emails I sent you with Camila's layouts. Delete everything. Pause. Rodrigo, I'm serious. If he finds out that we were... The door opened. Andre entered without knocking. Patricia hung up the phone immediately, her tense face trying to hide it with a professional smile. Mr. Oliveira, I didn't know you were... I need a meeting with you and Rodrigo Menezes. Now. Andre's voice was cold, controlled. Of course. I just need... Now, Patricia. Her smile died. The meeting room, 12 p.m. Andre was sitting at the head. Patricia and Rodrigo on the other side, tense, exchanging nervous glances. I reviewed the performance reports from the last 3 years. Andre began, opening a folder on the tablet, and I found some inconsistencies. Rodrigo swallowed dryly. Inconsistencies? Yes. Andre turned the screen to them. For example, this campaign for Petrocare. The client approved it with a score of 9.5. The internal report says it was created by you, Rodrigo. But the original file was sent from Camila Santos's email 3 days earlier. Silence. I asked her opinion, Rodrigo stuttered. She helped me, but it was my idea. The idea? Andre interrupted, his voice sharp. Or the complete work? Patricia quickly intervened. Mr. Oliveira, with all due respect, Camila is an excellent assistant, but she doesn't have the experience to lead campaigns alone. Rodrigo coordinated the project. So, assistant? Andre tilted his head. Camila Santos has been an analyst for 3 years. He has a diploma with honors, and according to this report, she alone delivered 90% of her team's approved campaigns. He paused. So explain to me, Patricia, why does her name never appear? Patricia turned pale. Andre stood up. You two have 48 hours to give me all the original work files. Emails, layouts, drafts, all. If I find one more inconsistency like this, he looked deep into her eyes. You're going to need a lawyer. He left the room without waiting for a response. Corridor, 12:30 p.m. Andre was walking back to the office when he saw Camila standing near the water fountain, using her cell phone. She noticed his presence and froze. Their eyes met. This time, Andre took a step towards her. Camila, his voice was low but firm. I need to talk to you. Her eyes widened. Sir, I have to. Not here. He looked around. People passed by, curious. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. My room. It wasn't a request. It was a summons. And Camila didn't know whether to feel scared or relieved. In that night, Tech Vision Archive, Andre was alone in the office, the lights off, only the light from the notebook illuminating his face. He opened Patricia's shared folder, which she hadn't yet deleted, and there it was, email after email, layouts created by Camila, sent to Patricia, who passed them on to Rodrigo with the instruction, use this, change the file name, present it as yours. Andre felt his jaw lock. It wasn't just merit theft, it was systematic sabotage. He downloaded all the files, saved them in an encrypted folder, and sent a copy to the company's lawyer. Then, he opened the salary history, and what he saw made him close his eyes in anger. Rodrigo, or 12,000 month. Patricia, 18,000 month. Camila, 4,200 month. She earned a third of Rodrigo's salary, doing double the work. Andre took a deep breath. He controlled his anger. He closed the notebook. Tomorrow he would begin to right this injustice, and nothing was going to stop him. Camila couldn't sleep. The whole night, she stared at the bedroom ceiling, mentally replaying the scene in the hallway. Andre's voice, his look, the summons. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. my office. At 5 a.m. she gave up trying to sleep. He got up, took a shower, prepared coffee, woke up his mother for medication, everything on automatic. The head was far away, trapped in a spiral of unanswered questions. What does he want? Is he going to fire me for complaining about him on the street? Or will he ask me about Patricia? Camila got ready carefully. Navy blue dress blouse, black pants, hair tied into an impeccable bun, light makeup, everything fine, everything professional, as if corporate armor could protect her from what was to come. At 7:45 a.m., she was already at the Tech Vision building. The corridor on the 10th floor, where the presidential office was located, was silent, elegant, with marble floors and minimalist paintings on the walls. She had never been up there. Analysts didn't go up there. Camila stopped in front of the frosted glass door with the golden sign, Andre Oliveira, CEO. He took a deep breath. He knocked 3 times. Come in. The room was large, modern, with an entire glass wall that overlooked Paulista. Andre was sitting behind a dark wooden table, typing something on his notebook. He looked up when she entered. Camila. He stood up, gestured to the chair in front. Sit down, please. She obeyed, her hands sweating, her heart racing. Andre closed his notebook and crossed his fingers on the table, looking directly at her. For a moment, no one spoke. Then he said calmly, I need you to know that what happened on the street was real. Camila blinked, confused. How? I wasn't investigating you. I didn't know who you were. His voice was firm but gentle. I saw someone in need of help, and I wanted to help. Just that. Camila felt something loosen in her chest. She didn't realize she was holding on to that doubt like a rock. But you are the CEO, she said, her voice low. You should be, I don't know, at important meetings, dinners, not sitting on a park bench drinking coffee. Andre gave a half smile. I like sitting on park benches. Reminds me that I am people, not charge. He paused. And I learned that the best conversations happen away from meeting rooms. Camila didn't know what to say. She just nodded. Andre leaned forward slightly. Camila, I reviewed your work from the last 3 years, and I discovered something that made me furious. He opened a folder next to the notebook and turned the computer screen towards her. This is the Petrocare campaign. Customer approved with a score of 9.5. Internal report says it was created by Rodrigo, but the original file was sent by you 3 days earlier. Camilla felt her stomach turn. She knew that campaign. I had spent 2 weeks working on it. Patricia had asked just to take a look, and then Rodrigo's name appeared as the author. Has this happened more times? Andre asked, his voice controlled. Camilla hesitated. Part of her wanted to scream, yes, all the time, but another part, the part that had learned to survive, knew that accusing the manager could be dangerous. She swallowed. Sometimes Patricia asks me to help Rodrigo. She says it's teamwork. Teamwork, Andre repeated, his tone full of irony. And how many of these teamworks does your name appear in? Camilla lowered her eyes. None. Andre closed the folder tightly. This isn't teamwork, Camilla. This is theft. The word echoed in the room. Theft. Simple, direct, true. I'll investigate everything, Andre continued. And if I confirm what I'm already seeing, Patricia and Rodrigo will answer for it. Legally, if necessary. Camilla's eyes widened. But, sir, I don't want to cause trouble. I just want to work, do my job and be recognized by him. Andre completed firmly. That's not too much to ask, Camilla. That's the least. She felt her eyes burning, but she blinked quickly to hold back the tears. Not here. Not in front of him. Andre softened his tone. I know you're afraid. I understand. But I need you to trust me. Just a little. I won't let anyone harm you because of this. Camilla took a deep breath, then slowly he nodded. Thank you, sir. Andrew, he corrected with a small smile. You can call me Andre. 2 hours later, Patricia's room. Patricia was on the phone with Rodrigo when the assistant knocked on the door. Patricia, the CEO asked you to go up to his office. Now, Patricia's blood ran cold. Did he say the reason? No, just said now. Patricia hung up the phone, straightened her blazer and went up to the 10th floor with shaky legs. When he entered Andre's room, he was standing with his back turned, looking out the window. Sit down, Patricia. She sat down, trying to maintain a confident posture, but his hands were shaking. Andre turned and threw a folder on the table. I want you to explain this to me. Patricia opened the folder. Inside, there were prints of emails, for Rodrigo, with layouts created by Camilla, and the clear instruction, use this. Change the file name, present it as yours. The air went out of her lungs. This was taken out of context. Context? Andre interrupted, his voice low and dangerous. What is the context of stealing an employee's work and giving credit to someone else? It wasn't robbery. Patricia stood up, defensive. Camilla is a junior. She needs supervision. She doesn't have the experience to deal with big clients alone. She has been with the company for 3 years, and he delivered 90% of his team's approved campaigns. Andre crossed his arms. Meanwhile, Rodrigo, who you protect so much, has the lowest approval rate in the sector. Patricia turned pale. Mr. Oliveira, I think Camilla is distorting things. She is a good employee, but sometimes she exaggerates her contribution. You know how it is, right? Some people need more guidance to understand hierarchy. The insinuation was clear, and Andre got it right away. Guidance? He tilted his head. Or public humiliation. Patricia opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Because I found that too. Andre opened another file on the notebook and rotated the screen. It was an internal security video from last week's meeting. Patricia throwing Camilla's documents on the floor. Is this guidance, Patricia? She swallowed hard, her face red. It was a stressful moment. You humiliated an employee in front of the entire team. Andre spoke slowly, each word weighing like lead. And now I understand why. Because she's too good, and you are afraid. I'm not afraid of, he has. Andre leaned forward. You're afraid she'll get promoted. May it pass you by. That someone realizes that you do nothing but steal other people's work and promote yourself based on it. Patricia was speechless, shaking with anger and fear. You have 24 hours to give me everything. All files, all emails, all. Andre closed the notebook. And in the meantime, you are away from management functions with immediate effect. You can't. I can, and I will. His voice cut like a blade. Now get out of my room. Patricia stumbled out, the world collapsing around her. Mezzanine. 15 minutes later, Camilla was getting water when she saw Patricia coming down the stairs. Her face upset, her eyes red. She walked straight past Camilla without looking, but muttered something low, venomous. You're going to regret this. Camilla froze. A flashback. 2 years earlier, Camilla was in the same meeting room, same table, same Patricia. But this time she had presented a new idea, an inclusion campaign for a client in the financial sector, something authentic, with real faces, real stories, something she knew would work. Patricia heard everything in silence. Then he smiled. Interesting, Camilla. Leave it to me. I will refine it and present it to the client. 2 weeks later, the campaign was approved, with praise, and Patricia was promoted to manager. Camilla's name? It was never mentioned. 8 Kirchenker back to the present, 5 p.m. Camilla was finishing a report when Rodrigo appeared in her cubicle. His face was tense, sweaty. We need to talk. Camilla looked around. The room was empty. About what? Rodrigo pulled out a chair and sat too close. Look, Camilla, I know you spoke to Andre, and I understand. You're nervous, you're feeling pressure, but you need to be careful. Be careful with what? What you talk about. Rodrigo lowered his voice, threatening. Because if you keep making up stories saying that I stole your work, that Patricia mistreated you, this could turn into a lawsuit. So, who do you think HR will believe? A junior analyst, or 2 professionals with years of experience? Camilla felt her blood run cold. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you. Rodrigo stood up. Think carefully about what you're going to do, Camilla, because sometimes wanting justice is expensive. He left. Camilla stood still, her hands shaking on the keyboard. They are afraid, and scared people are dangerous. And that night, Camilla's apartment. Camilla told her mother everything. Donna Joanna listened in silence, holding her daughter's hand. And now, mother, what if they fire me? What if they invent something against me? Donna Joanna squeezed her hand tightly. Camilla, listen here. The mother's voice was firm, even weak. You always did the right thing. Always. Even when it was difficult. Even when no one saw. And do you know why? Because you have character. And character cannot be bought. Cannot be stolen. Cannot be destroyed. Camilla's eyes filled with tears. But what if it doesn't work? And if so? Donna Joanna interrupted, smiling. What if for the first time someone really sees you? What if you are finally recognized? Are you going to give up on this out of fear? Camilla wiped away her tears. No. Then raise your head. Donna Joanna held her daughter's face with both hands. And show them who you are. The next day, Tech Vision, 10 a.m. Andre was in a meeting with the legal department when his cell phone vibrated. An anonymous message. If you continue investigating Patricia, we will reveal that you are having an affair with Camilla, compromising images. End of your career. Think carefully. Andre read the message twice. Then calmly he forwarded it to the lawyer with a single sentence. Extortion and defamation. Trace the source. Now. He wasn't going to back down, and whoever was behind this was going to pay dearly. Andre didn't sleep that night. The anonymous threat continued to burn on the cell phone screen. Compromising images. End of your career. He knew it was a bluff. There were no images because there was nothing between him and Camilla other than professional respect. But I also knew that in the corporate world, the truth mattered less than the narrative, and whoever controlled the narrative controlled the game. He wasn't going to let them destroy her reputation, nor his. At 6 a.m., Andre called Dr. Clarice Mendez, the most respected labor lawyer in São Paulo, a 55-year-old black woman, gray hair tied into an elegant bun, who had built a career defending victims of bullying and discrimination. Andre Oliveira. Her voice sounded surprised when she answered. How long has it been? 5 years? 6. Andre took a deep breath. Clarice, I need your help, and I need it fast. Tech Vision, 9:30 a.m. Camilla was in her cubicle trying to concentrate on a report when the internal phone rang. Camila Santos? The voice was feminine, firm, professional. My name is Clarice Mendez. I'm a labor lawyer. Andre asked me to talk to you. Do you have 30 minutes now? Camilla felt her heart accelerate. Yes. Where? Meeting room on the 8th floor, the reserved one. No one else will be there. Clarice was standing when Camilla entered. She wore an impeccable gray suit, gold-rimmed glasses, and had a presence that filled the entire room. Next to her, Andre was leaning against the wall, arms crossed. Sit down, Camilla. Clarice pointed to the chair. I know this must all be very intense for you, but I need you to trust me, just like you trusted Andre. Camilla sat up slowly, her hands shaking. What's going on? Clarice opened a folder and placed it on the table. Andre showed me everything. The emails, the stolen layouts, credit transfers, the video of the public humiliation. She paused. Camilla, what they did to you is not just unethical. It's illegal. Moral harassment. Appropriation of intellectual work. Career sabotage. Camilla swallowed dryly. And what can I do? To fight. Clarice leaned forward, but not alone. Andre will call an extraordinary meeting with the entire board of directors, HR, and those involved. It will be tomorrow, 2 p.m., and you will have the chance to present the evidence in front of everyone. Camilla's blood ran cold. In front of everyone? Yes. Clarice held her hand firmly. I know it's scary, but it is the only way to ensure the truth is heard. If we do this behind the scenes, Patricia and Rodrigo will have time to create an alternative narrative. They will say that you are lying, that you are problematic, that you are making it up. She shook Camilla's hand. But if it's public, With evidence, with witnesses, they won't have anywhere to run. Camilla looked at Andre. He nodded, eyes steady. I'll be there, on your side. He spoke, his voice low but confident. And I won't let anyone attack you. Camilla took a deep breath. He closed his eyes. He thought about his mother. In her words, you have character, and character cannot be destroyed. Then slowly she nodded. I'll do it. The next day, 1:45 p.m. The meeting room on the 11th floor was full. Camilla had never been in that room. It was where the big decisions took place, the board meetings, the major layoffs. The table was huge, made of dark varnished wood, leather chairs, heavy silence. Around the table were Andre at the head, Clarice next to him, 3 members of the board of directors, HR director, Marcia Fonseca, and on the other side, Patricia and Rodrigo, accompanied by a hastily hired lawyer. Camilla was sitting next to Clarice. Her hands were cold. Her heart was thundering in her chest. Andre looked around and began. Good afternoon, everybody. This meeting was called to address a serious situation involving misconduct, appropriation of intellectual work, and moral harassment within this company. He turned his gaze to Patricia and Rodrigo. Patricia Azevedo and Rodrigo Meneses are being formally accused of these practices. Patricia's lawyer stood up immediately. With all due respect, Mr. Oliveira, these are extremely serious accusations with proof, Andre interrupted, opening his notebook. And all documented. He turned the screen to the board. He started projecting on the wall. Email 1. Patricia sending to Rodrigo. Use Camilla's layout. Change the file name and present it as yours. The client won't know the difference. Email 2. Rodrigo replying. Done. I'll include it in my portfolio too. Email 3. Patricia. Perfect. This way we keep her in her place. The room fell dead silent. Patricia turned pale. Rodrigo lowered his eyes. That was taken out of context. Patricia shouted, getting up from her chair. Camilla is a junior employee. She works under my supervision. I have the right to review and approve her work. Review? Andre tilted his head. Or steal? He clicked on the next file. An internal security video. The meeting where Patricia threw Camilla's documents on the floor. The scene played in silence. Everyone watched. The humiliation, the contempt, the abuse. Marcia, the HR director, closed her eyes, embarrassed. And there's more, Andre continued. Camila Santos has been with the company for 3 years, delivered 90% of the marketing team's approved campaigns, alone. And do you know how much she earns? He projected the salary scale on the wall. Rodrigo Meneses, for $12,000 month. Patricia Azevedo, $18,000 month. Camila Santos, $4,200 a month. One of the counselors swore softly. She earns a third of Rodrigo's salary, doing twice the work. Andre let the words fall like stones. Can anyone here explain to me how this is fair? Silence. Patricia tried again, her voice trembling. Rodrigo has been in the market longer. He has an MBA. He has 0 campaigns approved in the last year that were not created by Camilla. Andre cut in. Implacable. 0. And you know it, because you orchestrated this. Patricia's lawyer tried to intervene. Mr. Oliveira, no disrespect to the employee, but we need to consider that she's black. Clarice stood up, her voice firm and loud. Is that what you mean? That she doesn't have the profile? That she doesn't have the presence? Because I have here. She picked up another folder. 15 cases registered with the Public Ministry of Labor of companies that did exactly that. Stealing merit from black employees, paying less, promoting less, and when confronted claiming lack of preparation. She slammed the folder on the table, and they all lost in court, with millionaire compensation. The silence was now heavy, suffocating. Then Andre looked directly at Camilla. Camilla, do you want to talk? All eyes turned to her. Camilla felt her throat dry up. The hands were shaking, but she thought about her mother. He thought about all the days she had swallowed humiliation. He thought about all the times he had lowered his head. Not today. She stood up slowly. I worked at this company for 3 years. Her voice was low, but firm. I arrived on time every day. I worked overtime without complaining. I delivered everything they asked of me and more, much more. She looked at Patricia. And every time I did a good job, you took it and gave it to someone else, as if I didn't exist, as if I were invisible. Patricia looked away. I'm not invisible, Camilla continued, her voice getting stronger. I am a black, competent woman who deserved to be promoted. That deserved recognition. That deserved respect. She felt the tears coming, but she didn't stop. And you took that from me. All day for 3 years. The room was in absolute silence. Camilla wiped her eyes and looked at the council. I don't want revenge. I just want justice. And I want no other person to go through what I went through. She sat down. Clarice placed a hand on her shoulder. Supportive. Andre stood up. Counsel, I ask you to evaluate the evidence and make a decision. But let me be clear. As long as I am CEO of this company, no one will be treated like this. Nobody. 5 p.m., 10th floor corridor. Camilla was leaving the room, exhausted, her legs wobbling, when she heard quick footsteps behind her. It was Patricia. Her face was red, upset, her eyes bloodshot with anger. "You destroyed my career," Patricia hissed, low, venomous. "Do you think you won? You haven't gained anything. No one will want to hire you after that. No one trusts a employee that exposes the company. You are marked." Camilla turned to her, tired but firm. "I didn't expose the company, Patricia. I exposed you. And if my career ends because of this, at least I'll sleep in peace. You are going?" Patricia was speechless. Camilla turned and walked away. 6:30 p.m. Parking. Camilla was getting into the car when she saw Andre approaching. "Camilla, wait." She stopped. He came close, his hands in his pockets, his face tired but relieved. "You were incredible in there." Camilla gave a weak smile. "I just told the truth, and the truth matters." He held her gaze. "The council will meet tomorrow to decide, but Clarice has already guaranteed. Patricia and Rodrigo will be fired. And you're going to get promoted, with retroactive increase." Camilla felt the tears return, but this time it was relief. "Thanks, for everything, for believing in me." Andre took a step forward. "I didn't believe you, Camilla. I saw you." He paused. "Since that day on the street, I saw who you really are." Their eyes met, and for a moment the world stopped. Then Andre's cell phone vibrated. He looked at the screen and his face closed. What it was? He turned the screen to her. It was an anonymous message, with a photo of Camilla and Andre in the parking lot, together, too close. And the caption, "CEOs shouldn't get involved with female subordinates. Does the board know that?" Camilla felt the floor disappear. They're going to use this against us." Andre narrowed his eyes, furious. "Not if they don't have time." Andre looked at the photo on his cell phone screen, then at Camilla, and did something she didn't expect. He smiled. "They made a mistake," he said calmly. "Like this?" Camilla was pale, shaking. "They have a photo. They're going to use it to say that we what?" Andre interrupted, his voice firm. "What did we talk about in the parking lot? That I supported an employee who was a victim of moral harassment?" He put away his cell phone. "Camilla, this photo proves nothing. But do you know what it proves? Despair. They are so cornered that they resorted to blackmail." He took his cell phone back and typed something quickly. "What are you doing?" Camilla asked. "Ending this." He sent the message. "I sent the photo to the council, to Clarice, and to the legal department, with a note. Extortion attempt. Track and prosecute." Camilla's eyes widened. You're not afraid?" Andre looked deep into her eyes. "I'm afraid of a lot of things, Camilla, but to do what is right, never." The next day, council room, 10 a.m. The room was fuller than the day before. In addition to the directors, there were 2 external lawyers, a digital security expert, and a representative from the Public Ministry of Labor, called by Clarice. Patricia and Rodrigo were sitting on the other side, now without a lawyer. He had resigned from the case overnight, citing a conflict of interest. They both looked devastated, deep circles under their eyes, rumpled clothes, hands shaking. Andre opened the meeting with a deep voice. "The council analyzed all the evidence presented yesterday. Furthermore, overnight we received new evidence." He nodded to the digital expert, who projected a series of traces onto the screen. "The anonymous message with the photo sent to me yesterday at 6:32 p.m. was traced. Origin, corporate cell phone registered in the name of Rodrigo Menezes." Rodrigo turned pale. I didn't send that. Someone took my cell phone. Rodrigo." Andre's voice cut like a blade. "Stop." Silence. "Not only did you and Patricia steal Camilla's work for 3 years, not only did you publicly humiliate her, but when you were confronted, you tried to blackmail her. Extortion, defamation, attempt to destroy a victim's reputation to save your own skin." He paused. "You are not just incompetent, you are criminals." The representative of the public ministry stood up. "Mr. Oliveira, based on the evidence presented, the Public Ministry of Labor will open a formal investigation against Patricia Azevedo and Rodrigo Menezes. We are talking about continued moral harassment, intellectual appropriation, salary discrimination based on race and gender, and attempted coercion." She looked directly at the two. "You will respond in the labor and criminal spheres." Patricia started to cry. It wasn't crying of regret. It was the cry of someone who lost everything. The chairman of the council stood up. "Patricia Azevedo and Rodrigo Menezes are from this moment on dismissed for just cause. No right to compensation. Your access will be revoked immediately. Security guards will accompany you to remove your belongings." He looked at Andre. "And what about Miss Camila Santos?" Andre took a deep breath. "Camila Santos will be promoted to the position of marketing manager, with a retroactive effect of 2 years. Your salary will be adjusted to $18,000 mensalts with performance bonus. In addition, the company will pay compensation for moral damages in the amount of $200,000 in recognition of the losses caused. The room erupted in murmurs. Camilla, sitting next to Clarice, couldn't hold back her tears. Clarice shook her hand, smiling. You did it, darling. You won. The corridor, 11:30 a.m. Patricia was being escorted by 2 security guards carrying a box with her belongings. When he passed Camilla, he stopped. Her eyes were red, her face swollen. You destroyed my life. Camilla looked at her, tired but firm. No, Patricia, you destroyed your own life. I just stopped letting you destroy mine. Patricia opened her mouth to respond, but no sound came out. She just lowered her head and followed, escorted, towards the exit. Camilla stood in the hallway watching her leave. And for the first time in 3 years, he felt peace. Flashback. 3 years earlier. Camilla was in the Tech Vision waiting room, wearing the best suit she had, bought in installments on the card. She was holding her resume tightly. Her hands were sweaty. Her heart was racing. When they called her for an interview, she walked into a room where there was a bored, middle-aged white man leafing through her resume without looking at her. Camila Santos, right? He didn't even look up. Graduated in advertising, public university. 2 stages. He sighed. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. We need someone to do operational work. Nothing very strategic. Do you agree? Camilla swallowed the humiliation and replied, I'm in, because she needed it. And for 3 years she agreed. He agreed to be invisible. It ended up being stolen. She agreed to be humiliated, until he couldn't do it anymore. Back to the present. Camilla's room, now marketing management. 2 p.m. Camilla entered the new room, her room, and stood at the door, in disbelief. It was large, with a glass window, a light wooden table, an ergonomic chair, and a new computer. There was a golden sign on the door. Camila Santos, marketing manager. She touched the plaque with her fingers, feeling the cold metal under her skin. It's real. This is real. She entered, closed the door, sat in the chair, and for the first time in years allowed herself to breathe. Really breathe. So, she took out her cell phone and called her mother. Mother? Camilla? Are you okay, daughter? I am, Mom. Her voice was choked. I did it. They promoted me. I'm a manager now, and I'm going to earn enough so that we don't have to be in any more trouble, to pay your bills, so you don't have to worry anymore. On the other end of the line, Donna Joanna started crying. I always knew, daughter. I always knew you would make it, because you are strong, stronger than anything they tried to do to you. Camilla wiped away her tears, smiling. I learned from the best, Mom. 1 week later, Camilla's first meeting as manager. The meeting room was full. The entire marketing team was there, nervous, curious. Some had worked alongside her. Others had been silent when she was humiliated. Camilla entered, wearing a navy blue blazer, hair loose in natural curls, posture erect. She placed the folder on the table and looked around. Good morning. My name is Camila Santos, and from now on, I am the manager of this team. She paused. I know that many of you saw me being treated unfairly, and I know some of you were silent. His voice was firm, but not accusatory. But I'm not here to charge anyone. I'm here to build a team where no one needs to go through what I went through, where everyone is seen, where everyone is respected. The room was in absolute silence. If anyone here has an idea, I want to hear it. If someone does a good job, their name will be on the report. If anyone needs help, I will help. But if someone tries to steal someone else's credit or humiliate someone, Camilla tilted her head. You won't last a day on this team. She smiled. Understood? Everyone nodded. One of the analysts, Julia, raised her hand shyly. Camilla, I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for not saying anything when Patricia treated you like that. I should have spoken. Camilla looked at her and nodded. Thank you, Julia. And next time, speak up, because silence is also a choice. 2 months later, company awards event. Tech Vision was holding an internal recognition ceremony. The entire executive body was present. Andre was on stage at the microphone. And the award for best performance of the year goes to, he opened the envelope and smiled, Camila Santos, for the financial inclusion campaign that brought in 3 million reais in new contracts. The room erupted in applause. Camilla took to the stage, her legs shaking, her heart racing. Andre handed her the trophy, an acrylic block with the company logo and her name engraved on it. She held the microphone. I don't even know where to start. She took a deep breath. A few months ago, I was invisible in this company. I did the work, but no one saw it. I delivered results, but no one recognized it. She looked at the audience. And today, I'm here, not because someone did me a favor, but because someone decided to see it. She looked at Andre. and because I decided not to give up on myself. The applause was deafening. When she got off the stage, Andre was waiting. "Congratulations," he said, smiling. "Thanks." She held the trophy tightly. "For everything." Andre hesitated, then said quietly, "Camilla, can I ask you a question?" "Of course." "That day on the street, when you vented to me," he looked deep into her eyes. "If you knew who I was, would you have spoken the same way?" Camilla thought for a moment. Then he smiled. "No, I probably would have pretended everything was fine, because that's what we learn to do, to fake, survive." She held his gaze. "But I'm grateful that you were just you that day, not the CEO, just a man who stopped to listen. And I thank you," Andre replied softly, "for being brave enough to speak." Their eyes met, and for a moment the world around them disappeared. Then Camilla smiled and took a step back. "We have a lot of work ahead of us, Mr. Oliveira." "Andrew," he corrected, smiling back. "And yes, we have." 6 months later, Sunday, Camilla's apartment. Camilla was in the kitchen preparing coffee when her mother came in, leaning on her cane but smiling. "You look different, daughter." "How different?" Donna Joanna sat at the table. "Light. Are you light? I haven't seen you like this in a long time." Camilla served coffee and sat next to her mother. "I'm fine, Mom. In truth, for the first time in a long time, I'm okay." Donna Joanna held her daughter's hand. "You fought, Camilla, and you won. Not because you screamed, not because you hit him head-on in anger, but because you maintained your character, and character is the only thing that no one can steal." Camilla felt her eyes burn. "I learned that from you, Mom." They stood there, hand in hand, drinking coffee, in silence. And Camilla knew, with absolute certainty, that it had been worth it. All the pain, all the fighting, because in the end, she hadn't lost who she was, she had found it. Epilogue. 1 year later, Camilla was on the balcony of her new apartment, bigger, with 2 bedrooms, a balcony, and a view of the city. The mother was in the room, sleeping peacefully, her health stabilized with the new treatments that Camilla could afford. Her cell phone vibrated. A message from Andre. "Meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. I have a proposal. And no, it's not work, it's personal." Camilla smiled. She typed back, "I'll be there." Because for the first time in her life, Camilla Santos was not afraid of being seen. She was ready to shine. A final reflection. Camilla's story reminds us that justice is not a favor, it's right. That the silence of those who witness injustice is as cruel as the act itself. That character cannot be bought, cannot be stolen, cannot be destroyed. And that sometimes all a person needs is someone to see. Let him listen. May you believe it. Camilla didn't win out of revenge. He truly won. And the truth, always, always, finds its way. Mabry, now it's up to you and you. Have you ever been through something similar? Have you ever been invisible at work, in your family, in life? Tell us here in the comments. From 0 to 10, how much did you identify with Camilla's story? And if this story touched you, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and share it with someone who needs to know that they are not alone, because stories like this need to be told and heard. Also watch. She was humiliated in the company, but she owned everything. Boss expelled pregnant employee without knowing she was an heir. Until the next story. And remember, you are not invisible. You are unforgettable.